the Scaleborn War.
The War of the Scaleborn. Get it right,
That's
Michael.
it. Whoops. There you go. We've just started the segment and I've already lost. Hey, imagine if our dragon battles looked 3% as cool as that does in game. Wouldn't that be something?
I've figured something out, and this is a spoiler for the Lore Walking Mage podcast that went up today that me and Jared were on. So there's two things that Blizzard is missing that they need to have in the game more that would get people excited. Number one is dragon fights, because we've only had basically, we've had 1 and a bit dragon fight. Because the Wrathion and Razageth, that wasn't a fight. That was Wrathion getting deleted.
Yeah.
Razageth and Alextraza had a fight, and that was cool, and people liked it. And then there wasn't really a fight in Zarla Cavern, because Neltharion was in human form, or in his visage. Neltharion?
That wasn't even
That
him.
wasn't Neltharion. Who was it? Wasn't him Sibelian? Sibelian threw the spear at Farak, and then Farak blasted Abyssin. Alright, okay. Well, there you go. That wasn't really a dragon fight. So this the response to this novel cover is everyone going, dragon fight, cool. And as me and Jared determined, more wizard fights as well. And what's a wizard fight? A wizard fight is basically a dragon fight, but with humans. Different from a human fight, because a human fight, you understand what I mean, I hope. But it's ultimately, people would be way cooler, way happier about how cool the game is if it was cool like this. That's all you need. You just need contrasting colors and dragons roaring. You can kind of get the vibe. Like,
some of the principles of a good YouTube thumbnail are at play here with like the color contrast and the vibrancy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what this book is though is it's telling the
War of the Scaleborn
War. Woo!
Scalebound War. Yo. Scalebound, the game that never was.
Oh, I'm sorry for your at this stage PTSD over being a Platinum Games fan. I'm so sorry.
The news that Platinum got to work on a segment in FF16. Oh my god, I'm so happy.
It's going to be the one bit of the game that doesn't work.
No, people already have a fairly good idea of what it is. It's going to be super sick.
Nice.
It's like perfectly up their alley.
So this book could either go real good or real bad, because what it essentially seems to focus on is the relationship between Alextraza and Vyranoth, who were friends. But Alextraza, she took the goddamn blue pill, which, and then Vyranoth took the red pill. And that's a funny joke, because actually Vyranoth is blue and Alexstraza's red. Oh, how funny. But yes, Alexstraza's like, Alexstraza's like, I've taken the Titan juice. This is fine. This is great. Look at me. I'm all smooth now. And then Vyranoth gets to say, no, I know what's really going on. I am smarter than you, Alexstraza, you stupid bastard. And then they have a big fight. Now, it's almost certainly the case that Vyranoth will be the main dragon that we deal with in our next major patch. Something will probably happen to Farak, I guess, maybe. But Vyranoth and the Emerald Dream, that makes a lot of sense. There's some cinematic foreshadowing of that as well that's went on in the game. Look at this. It's like this is like, my guard, my sort of a microphone sword. That's very, very, very powerful and commanding when you could assault somebody if they come close to you while you're recording. So if that backstory is like in the game and the relationship between those characters works really well in the game, then having a book that's just like, hey, here's some dessert that we couldn't fit in the calorie budget for this build.
Exactly.
Great. But if it's one of those cases where this stuff, much like so much of Sylvanas and BFA, just doesn't work, and then a book fixes the problem, then that is going to be very disappointing, and it will have failed by Ian Hazzikostas' own metric, which is that if really it's an external source that is what's making the in-game lore make sense, then that is, what do you call it, a narrative interruption or a narrative, something like that. Which, of course, the Sylvanas book, even though it was a really good book, actually was. Because, it can be a good book, but the overall narrative experience of, Warcraft can be disjointed and bad, even though a good book can reside within it. Yeah. So I think that's the thing that is the most important here, and this is basically just the big old battle, right? This war, these characters disagreeing. Alexstraza and her friend Vyranoth tried to preserve peace. As we can perhaps see from the cover image, that doesn't end up going too well for them.
Peace and tranquility.
There! Oh, finally some Warcraft is going on. What's that?
No, you see, you don't understand it. That's just how dragons talk to each other very closely.
Oh, is it just like, like Italians with all the, the kiss in the cheek and the big hand movements and the spaghetticini and all that stuff?
Yes, dragons are Western Europeans. You heard it here first. Absolutely.
We've worked it out.
We've figured it out, no worries.
Yeah. You see, here we just talked about, here we just turn on resting bitch face, stiffen up like a plank, and become extremely awkward when we talk to each other. And then you go on holidays to somewhere in Europe, and they're all like fucking animated and fun, and we're like, what the?
Yeah,
are you letting emotions out? What is this? Oh.
Yeah, it's like my default face is literally like, I tend to smile, or at least when I'm talking, I smile a bit more. My default face when I walk around is literally just like, can I do it without smiling? Because I'm thinking about it. It's like,
you just walk around like, I'll fucking kill you if you touch me.
Basically.
Looking at.
It's just me. And then I talk, hello, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
so you say hello to Matt, he's like, what do you mean hello?
Yep.
Tenses up and kills you.
No, I mostly just go, what are you talking to me? What's the motive? I live in a city, I'm distrustful. Anyway.
Oh yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So I think that's basically the situation. I think the book will probably be cool. There'll be aspects of the lore that will be cool. And to be honest, right, if we were going to have some successful macro narrative design, we maybe would have seen some flashbacks. We would have had some show don't tell going on for some of these key pivotal events that motivate our characters, who currently are just standing around talking about unity.
Yeah, there's a reason I'm kind of hopeful for this, actually. And that is that, well, okay, maybe this will pan out wrong and maybe I'll have to eat my words horribly, but this book was announced before the patch. So maybe stuff happens in the patch and we get to see them in the patch in the game where they do stuff. That's my hope. My hope is they do it right this time. It's a bit simple, but I hope they actually bother to, don't spring Alextraza and Vyranoth being best mates back in the day and like the only two that were going for peace. Don't spring that on us in the book or in an announcement for the book before the patch comes out, where you then show us in the book, you show us in the patch, and we're not surprised because you told us about it in the fucking book announcement.
See, it's like
that's the shit.
He just got triggered.
Yeah, no.
So I'm going to talk about microtransactions and cause you to explode.
Yeah, that rage came in a flurry. Actually, genuinely, I immediately realized how stupid it is to spoil what you're going to talk about by announcing a book for pre-order when you don't need to announce the book for pre-order until after the fucking patch, and you go done. But if this is literally a line go up, if this is line go up because we need pre-orders for a book, then you have bigger problems to solve.
You know what? I think that these books are so meaningless to the amount of money that actually moves the needle.
Yeah.
For Blizzard. I think that these books, I think they generally are genuinely are a world lore building, deepening the fan experience. I really do think it is that. Because as an example, would it make financial sense for us to make an RPG source book for Pale Beyond? No, it wouldn't. Would I really like to do that because it would be cool, some people would enjoy it, and while we do that, we would flesh out the world and, work out things that would probably help us in the future? That sounds like a win-win. Is it the most line go up? No. But it's it's a cool thing you can do. And there evidently still is room for that. Right? It's not like we're not getting a new book we're not getting a new book with each Call of Duty season.
Oh, we should though. That'd be good.
Yeah, just oh great, here's a short story anthology of Captain Price's exploits when he was a young man. Fantastic. Actually,
yeah,
just get one of those ex-SAS authors to go write that shit. There you go, Bobby. Send me the invoice.
Brilliant. Man, they're the amount of invoices that we'll have sent to them lying in their postbox will be hilarious by the time we're done.
We should really check the postbox.
Yeah. There's just going to be hundreds of millions of dollars from Blizzard sitting in there. I'm like, we should have cashed this in a while ago. Whoops.
We're just fucking hell, it's been there all this time. Oh dear.
Well, that explains a couple things, doesn't it? Oh,
yeah, so I think that the time that they should have been building this up, though, is the opening experience of the expansion. or maybe at the end of Vault of the Incarnates, because for Alextraza, she probably should have, like seen Vyranoth and had an emotional reaction to that because of her complex emotions.
Yeah, there certainly are issues with Alextraza being like, oh, there's something happening that's like really important to the
Shut
future.
the fuck up. Unity.
So there's
friendship.
So there's something really important to the future of Dragonkind happening. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to be here in the city doing nothing. Sorry, I mean resolving terrorist plots by saying, why can't we all be friends?
Under my queenship. Queenship? Queendom?
Queendom, yeah.
There.
Yeah, fucking do something, you useless fucking...
Yeah.
That's
Please.
ultimately what it feels like.
Please,
where,
let Alextraza do something.
There's a decent chance she does do something in 10-2. But the problem is then, sorry guys, we're out of screen time. Why? Because we planned 10-2 to be about Vyranoth. And we planned it to be about the Emerald Dream. So we planned it to be about Asera and Marithra. And because it's about Asera, it's about Tyrande and Malfurion and the fucking Shadowlands again and the Winter Queen and Elune. And Alexstrasza in the corner like, where's my screen time? And then the narrative design team say, get in the fucking book, Alexstrasza, where you belong. Get in the book.
You're a dragon. It's what you're meant for. The only people who get books are night elves.
Oh, jeez.
And their associates. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
humans get comics. Night elves get books. Dragons get fucked. Oh. Nope.
Yeah, I was about.
That was actually not meant to be a joke referring to the Chromie thing, to make that extremely clear.
Yeah.
It was generally dragons not getting the narrative care and attention that they deserve.
Yeah. Good. Very good.
Oh, I feel like all of Twitter floating in the window.
If it helped at all, I was about to make a joke that I then realized midway through thinking it could be related to that, but it isn't. I was about to say, get in the book, it's okay, this one's not written by Richard A. Knack. But I've forgotten entirely about that, just because I remember Dawn of the Aspects and Knack being a very water dragons. I don't really know, I'll figure it out as I go along kind of stuff. And that's where a lot of the problems of dragons, like initially in World of Warcraft, came from. Here's the Knack version, where they're kind of weird and we don't like them very much. And then they actually fleshed them out more now in a different way. And you're like, Jesus Christ, this is fucking dire. This is dire.
Sure is.
But
something.
I will talk about this a little bit, which is I did a little bit of research because I don't have life or anything like that. So I did some research on this author, Courtney Alameda. I don't know.
Alameda Research.
I don't know, but yes.
You weren't following the FTX fall with everybody's favorite forest nymph?
No. Anyway, so yes, Alameda. Courtney is a writer of, and I was surprised because it was very much, she's very heavy on horror stuff. And then I looked a little bit deeper into it, and it's a little bit of like experiencing young adult horror, but also a little bit of fantastical stuff leading into the horror. But ultimately what she is very good at is, believe it or not, character relationships, especially character relationships between females who are like family members and or friends. I was reading like reviews of her books like Shudder, and a lot of it was, some of this is a wee bit naff, but the part that really was done well was all of the character stuff with how these, like the drama unfolded between all of these characters with a female lead and all that stuff. And I was like, well, that actually sounds like they got the perfect person for here's two dragons having a big drama.
So a bit of an anti-Knack, and then also, thankfully, Anduin Wrynn is nowhere near this book. So his, he's so good. Oh, he can do no wrong. Anduin is so good. Look, he's turned Bane into himself. Now Bane is Anduin as well.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of that will happen because Anduin isn't there. And I suppose you look at where this narrative eventually has to go, and it is sort of a big war.
It's a big
war. So, we'll see what happens.